ESPN's continuing coverage of the ISU Grand Prix of Figure Skating presented by Olay. This is the Cup of China as we welcome you back inside Capitol Gymnasium in Beijing. I'm Bob Wischusen with Paul Wiley and Peter Carruthers, joined now by Susie Nguyen as we are set for the pairs short program. And after 2 of 6 events, Paul, in the Grand Prix series, Zhang and Savchenko and Sulkawi top the pairs leaderboard.
And of course, Tomyan and Marinin are still to come in this series, and Shannon Zhao absent from this list because of his ruptured Achilles tendon.
And taking the ice, the 2005 U.S. champions, the pair of Katie Orscher and Garrett Lukash, a pair of Connecticut natives in their 6th season together.
And Bob, Katie missed 2 months this summer due to a foot injury, and while she was off, Garrett put on 6 to 8 pounds of muscle mass so that he could be ready when she came back. They opened this program with a split double twist with a variation on it. There are now 4 levels to twists. That was nicely done.
It's important here on the side-by-side triple toe loops to really go for it. This is sort of a deciding factor in the jump element. Garrett stepped out a bit.
This team known for their massive throws. This is a difficult throw, triple flip. The height she gets, very nicely done.
In their choreography, there's a lot more intricacy with how they're holding on their hand connections, their arm connections.
Trip there. Oh, that footwork piece generally very easy, but it looked like she got on her toes, and once you start to trip, the partner pulls you. It's very difficult to stand up. Well, 2 silly mistakes. Actually, they look a lot better than I thought they would after the 2 months of layoff.
They really hit the big elements, and the program's a well laid out program with a lot of difficulty. It just needs that training time.
In the side-by-side triple toe loops, Garrett actually looked pretty good and just didn't quite check that landing there, turning out of that. That's a minor mistake there, but here in the footwork, Katie begins to trip right about here, and then with the handhold also goes over her toe pick, and that fall will be a 1.0 mandatory deduction.
Well, some of the numbers that the pairs will be shooting for, these are the top Grand Prix Series short program scores this season. Zhang and Skate America, and Savchenko and Sulkawi and Skate Canada, both in the neighborhood of 60, but with a personal best of 56.15 and a mandatory 1-point deduction for the fall. You would imagine that Orsher and Lukash will fall well short of those marks. And in total, they're not able to reach 50 at 49.02. Still many more pairs to come, including Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov, who had an odyssey just to get from Skate Canada all the way here to Beijing for the Cup of China. As we look at the temporary beauty of water calligraphy, locals come to the Temple of Heaven to write poetry in water on the ground. It's a beautiful form of artwork cherished by the Chinese. And there is skating news involving two-time World Pairs champion Xu Eishen and Hangbo Zhao. They are spectators at this event after Zhao ruptured his left Achilles tendon in August during a practice session. Zhao had surgery and is currently not skating. He is training off the ice, but the last time we saw them was at the World Championships in March when he suffered a strained left tendon. They had hoped to challenge for their third world title, but the pain was too much for Zhao, and after skating in the warm-up, he limped off the ice. The pair was devastated, and they were forced to withdraw from the competition. Zhao is currently having some special boots made to accommodate the injury, and their hope is that they will be ready to compete in the Olympic Games. Zhao received 130 stitches due to the extent of the injury, which left a scar running from his heel to his lower calf, and those special boots should relieve some pressure on the injury. Back to the ice, Dorota Zagorska and Mariusz Szudek, the 8-time Polish champions, are next.
And speaking of injuries, Dorota is coming back from shoulder injury where she fell at the Cup of Russia on throw triple loop. She says she's 100%, but I notice a little posture change, a little bit hunched in her shoulders.
A little shrug in the shoulders.
Husband and wife, I think they have a great chemistry on the ice. Of course, not all married couples have a great chemistry on the ice, but I think they look like they're having so much fun. The first jump here, side-by-side triple toe, not easy for them. Nicely done.
Mariusz proposed to Dorota at the closing banquet of the Worlds in 2000.
And their height is, they have a very large span in their height. She's only 5'1", he is 6'2", so those throws, it's a long way down. Some unison problems in the side-by-side spins.
They're also very far apart. Attempt to make this a difficult spin, it kind of slows it down and they're kind of lumbering through different positions.
Footwork a little bit more simplistic, so they will probably not receive the highest of levels in their footwork. But their lifts are outstanding. The strength, the transitioning power here, one arm, and watch how they exit forward. That's so difficult. You're much more vulnerable facing forward because of the toe pick of the blade.
And the kiss, the ninth non-required element.
But their favorite. Level 4. This was a solid performance for them. This is a charming program. They hit the big moves, some synchronization problems on the spins, but other than that, excellent.
At age 30 and 33, they say they want to stick around after the Olympics for the Europeans in Poland.
Here's a look at the side-by-side triple toe loops. Well done. They rotate very differently. She's very quick. He's slower. Remember, he's 6'2". But for them to land that very, very secure.
Dorota and Mariusa finished in the top 10 in the Olympics the past 2 games. A personal best in the short program of 61.84. This time around, 56.06. And as things stand now, that puts them in first place. Still to come, the 2000 world champions, Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov. They won silver last week in Newfoundland at Skate Canada and then went on an odyssey to get from Newfoundland to Beijing for the Cup of China. Peter with that story.
Well, Petrova and Tikhonov, the world silver medalists, had a difficult time getting from St. John's, Newfoundland to Beijing. They started in St. John's, went to Toronto where the flight was delayed, then got to Vancouver too late and missed their connection that was going on to Beijing. So the airlines flew them back to Toronto. Then they finally got to Beijing a day and a half late. They slept 14 hours, woke up this morning and practiced. So we'll have to see if this takes a toll on the short program. It could be pretty tired.
All right, Peter, thanks very much. And Petrova and Tikhonov, one of several competitors that we have had here in Beijing that also skated last week at Skate Canada. And it seemed as if that was a common theme, problems getting from Newfoundland to Beijing. That was not the only story that we heard of skaters that had a difficult time making what was a very long commute.
Well, and Alexei celebrated his 34th birthday on that plane, so he said he missed his birthday. So he's now only 33.
Must have crossed the date line somewhere.
Savchenko and Sulkawi definitely dealt them a wake-up call at Skate Canada. They had a lot of problems on their side-by-side jumps like this triple toe. Very nice. There's a determination that happens after a competition that you disappoint yourself in.
Not the highest split twist that we'll see. But I love how they're aggressively pushing. They look faster than at Skate Canada. They have more control.
We saw Emmanuel Sandou and Petrova and Tikhonov, who go from Skate Canada all the way to Beijing. In an Olympic year, are competitors more likely to try and skate in more competitions leading up to the games?
Well, they only get 2 Grand Prix that they're assigned to, so you don't even get to choose. So it was odd, I think, to have flown them all the way to the Far East from Canada. It is an advantage, though, going forward in the season because now they're done with all that traveling, and they have all this learning from the new system under their belt. Coming up, Judge has a level 4 at Skate Canada. It enters from a pendulum swing into the star position. Then she varies it to the side, with hand on the hip, and watch the dismount 1.5 revolutions to a fish lift. Excellent.
While they were traveling, they took that plane ride as an opportunity to discuss where they were losing points, where they could earn them. They changed some of the choreography, some of the entrances to their final death spiral to make it more difficult, so they were very proactive during the trip. And this is the entrance of dance lift, then into the right forward inside death spiral, making it more difficult.
They're still skating at the after the music. Now, they will be watching for the timing of the program. It cannot go over 2 minutes and 50 seconds. But a very solid performance from Petrova and
Such an
Tikhonov.
improvement. Such an improvement from Skate Canada.
Will there be a timing deduction, though? We'll find out when we return. We will also see the two-time Chinese champions, Qing Pang and Jian Tong, take the ice when we return after Peter's travelogue.
One of the highlights when I come to Beijing is a trip to the pearl market, and they've got all kinds here. They've got freshwater pearls, saltwater pearls, Tahitian pearls. I have my list. I'm ready to go, so let's go shopping. So we have all kinds of different pearls here. Tell me what we have down here.
From here to here, they all freshwater pearl from the different sizes.
What do ladies like the most?
Most is a white one because they can suit any kind of dresses.
Any kind of dress?
Yes.
These pearls down here?
They are South Sea pearls,
South
which
Sea
is more
pearls.
expensive.
The best, right?
Yeah, the best quality.
These are beautiful. They're gold.
Yeah, gold color.
How much would these cost?
40,000 US dollars.
40,000 US. I think we're gonna have to hold off on that, honey. Beautiful though. Beautiful.
The Guard of Honor marches twice a day in Tiananmen Square here in Beijing. At sunset, they perform the lowering of the flag ceremony as tourists gather, pictures are taken, and the 5-star red flag is lowered and marched away. And the Guard of Honor, they are there again in the morning to raise the flag. As we now check our eSkate question, you can email us at eskate@espn.com. And our eSkate question this week comes from Karen Angeline. Have the pair stopped doing the lasso lift after the horrible accident with Tatiana Totmianina last year? I didn't think I saw it during the short programs this year at Skate Canada. Also, have they stopped competing?
Well, Karen, the pairs continue to do the lasso lift, as we saw Totmianina and Marinin performing it at last season's World Championships. It is not, however, the required lift in the short program this year. The required lift is any hip lift takeoff. And you'll see Garrett lifting Katie up from the hip. That is the required lift in the short program. Totmianina and Marinin are still competing, and we will see them skate in their first Grand Prix event at Grand Prix Paris, which will air on ESPN2 on November 27th and on ESPN on November 28th.
So now we check the scores for Petrova and Tikhonov. Again, 56.07 would give them the top spot. They have a personal best of 67.42. They did suffer a time violation, though, at the end of their program, which deducted 1 point, but still overall a total of 62.76, and that puts them comfortably in front thus far through the short program. So Maria Petrova and Alexei Tikhonov have the top spot as they take over the top spot from Dorota Zagorska and Mariusz Shudek. And now it's the Chinese champions' turn. Two-time national champions here in China, Qing Pang and Jian Tong.
Pang and Tong have a light, artistic style. Sarah Kawahara has choreographed this piece to variations on a theme of Paganini. Side-by-side triple toe loop, little 2-foot there. Their absolute strength, the skyrocketing height there. Beautiful landing.
They've made great improvements in their choreography, the difficulty. They're skating closer together, exploring different handholds and variety of movement.
Very high quality skating. A little bit of a question mark on the triple toe side by side, but a beautiful throw, and the lifts were fantastic. The Chinese were really dominating last year on the Grand Prix, and this year we're not seeing that same thing, you know, the oxygen taken out of the room by Shen and Zhao a little bit. In the side-by-side triple toe loops, Xing's is a little bit questionable. She has not quite enough height. She 2-foots it and under-rotates it. If the technical specialist sees that, they'll count it as a double. Now, the throw triple loop, just massive. He gets way off balance in throwing her, but the result is probably 4 feet of air.
62.77 would give Pang and Tong the lead. And 58.64 is what they will have to settle for, which will put them in second place, a little over 4 points behind the leaders, Petrova and Tikhonov.
And I think what you're seeing there is that sense of a lower scale on the triple toe side by side. They would have lost up to 3 points base value for a double toe.
And they trail by 4, so that just about accounts for the deficit with Zagorska and Shudek in third as we speak. Coming up next on the Cup of China from here in Beijing, an opportunity for Susie Wynn and myself to bond. It's original dance, and that begins in a moment.